Hey, Trevor, how are you, buddy? It's good to see you again.
I'm good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I wore my black sweater, to fit in with Everblack.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Because I'm actually at the office at work and just floating in a skull, but there's just bookwork and stuff behind it, so it's less interesting than where you are. That looks cool. You're at home chilling out.
My home, yeah, this is my little studio workspace. So yeah, got my stereo, my books and stuff. Yeah.
Man, living the dream, brother. But hey, man, thanks for joining us on the show again. Of course, Mr. Bungle are finally coming back to Australia. And this is going to be my first time seeing Bungle, as I was 2 weeks shy of being 18 when the last tour happened. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So
I was
were you there last? What year was that?
2000, I think it was. No, 99, 99.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. It's been almost 25 years.
I know, man, right? Crazy, crazy. I remember seeing the poster and being like, if only I was 2 weeks away.
Unfortunately, you're not going to get Bungle proper. You're going to get the Raging Wrath Bungle, which, a lot of people have issues with, but
Man, I'll take Bungle any way I can get Bungle.
right
All right.
on.
I'll get Bungle because I like that Raging Wrath demo, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. We're bringing back the 90s, man, or the 80s, to be honest. Yeah.
It's sick. It's good, man. I like all the eras of Bungle. You know, you guys are so diverse and, you know, cover all the bases.
Yeah. I mean, we listen to a lot of different music individually, so it just comes out naturally.
It works, man. It works. But how you feeling about finally coming back? I mean, you've been here before then, but with Bungle, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I think I must have been back in Australia with Tomahawk after that, probably
Yeah.
early, maybe 2003 or four or something. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited. I'm gonna look into actually swimming with a platypus this time because it's on my bucket list. But because you can go to some of these places
Yeah.
like a zoo and like pay to like wait around on a tank and like let them like hopefully inject you with venom. That's what I want to be like Spider-Man, but with platypus.
You start growing this tail. Yeah, yeah. And the
Yeah. I just gotta piss off a male platypus, and then he sticks me with his venom, and then I'm become a superhero. I'm pretty
that
sure that's
sounds
how.
that's exactly how it works. That's exactly how it works. But lay eggs. They lay eggs, don't they? Yeah. I live in this country. I don't even fucking know.
They're an egg-laying mammal, man. They're one of the few.
How does that even happen? I don't even know in the grand scheme of things how it's like a
You guys have
duck
a lot of weird shit
fever.
there, so it's basically because you're floating in the middle of nowhere, and you've been doing that for a long time, and so animals are like, they grow weird shit and they turn into weird things, and then they can't leave. They can't, they're like they're
It's
trapped.
how does yeah, but it's like a beaver and a duck mixed with something like how does that even happen? You know,
It's like it has bone structure of a bird, uh, a mammal, and reptile.
a reptile. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. There you go. Man,
So
I'm
when the British came, there's a song about this that Mr. Bungle that I wrote for
of
Mr. Bungle.
course. Yes.
Explain the whole history of it in one song. But when the British came over and they found this thing, and they're like, well, we clearly have to take this back to the UK and analyze it because we don't know what the hell it is. And when they took it back, the scientists in the UK thought it was a hoax. They thought someone had glued together a bunch of different animals. They're like, this isn't real.
Man, it's so good. It's so good. But they are cool. They are cute little dudes and dudettes. I like them. I like them. But you're bringing Melvins back down with you as well. You've probably done countless tours with those guys over the years. Um, crazy, crazy cats, but everyone loves
Yeah,
them. How's it
yeah.
touring with those guys?
It's great. Those guys they're road machines. They're road dogs,
Yes.
they're just constantly on the road and they know how to do it. And I mean, we've been fans of their music since the 80s, and that's why we started playing with them back then, and just because we wanted to be around it and hear them live. So I've probably seen the Melvins live more than I've ever seen any other band, because I also used to go see them before I knew them, just as a fan, back in the sort of like the Bullhead days or Ozma, period. I would see them do that material in bars in San Francisco. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a blast.
Man, I can't wait. It's going to be so good. But of course, I mean, Bungle have always had a really strong connection with Australia. Apart from the Platypus and a couple of you guys actually, Danny moved here, as well as Bar. You left them behind here. Here they are,
Yeah. It's, those Australian women, man, you can't, the Americans come down there, they just trap them. That's what Australians do. That's why the platypus can't leave. That's why, if you go, it's very difficult to get out of Australia. So I made it out, luckily. But yeah, no, we love it down there. Australia's always been really good to us. Disco Volante, which is our weirdest record, arguably, was, I think, on the charts in Australia. I mean, that's how weird you guys are. So yeah, don't call us weird.
No. We are. We are a weird bunch, but we found that connection with Bungle, a really strong connection with Matt. And I love that album, man. Merry Go Bye Bye is like still one of my favorite songs ever written. But did you ever want to stay? Did you ever go, you know what? I'm just gonna move to Australia.
No, the last time I was down there, I moved to New York in 2000. So, which is already a big move. Being from California, moved to New York is kind of, even though it's the same country, it's kind of extreme. And so I'd already made a big move, and I was excited to be in New York, and where for musical reasons, because the community here, and it's really been good for me. So I'm glad I did that.
Do you still stay in touch with those other guys?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm in touch. I was texting Danny yesterday, and I saw Bear in California a few months ago. He came to visit family, and we hung out a little bit. So yeah, definitely.
Oh man, that's so cool. I can't wait. But let me start this. It's early in the morning here. Let me rewind that, brother. I was going to say, of course, Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian are now part of the band, Thrash Legends. How did that come about?
When we had the idea to re-record this demo, and it's 80s thrash metal, and it was all inspired by bands like Slayer and Anthrax and Exodus, and the list goes on. Me and Mike and Trey were like living that in the 80s. So when we decided to redo it, me and Mike already knew Dave because of Phantomos.
Yep.
And that music, he was like a no-brainer. It's like, we got to get Dave. This music was written with him in mind, and then actually Mike suggested we get Scott as a rhythm guitarist, which made a lot of sense. So we're trying to turn the big four into the big five. Basically, we're trying to be number five and take over, because all those other bands, Slayer already retired.
Yep.
Metallica's probably next. It's like we got to get up in there, man. We got to like take over
the big. You get it like a Mortal Kombat totem, where you're going to go and take them out one by one.
Exactly, and it's very Mortal Kombat inspired as well, which is because we grew up playing those video games. I mean, yeah.
There you go. But then Scott will have to fight himself. You know how you can fight yourself? It's the mirror version. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little meta, but yeah.
But Bungle's always been hard to pin down musically, but you guys started out with thrash and the death metal influences and things like that, but it went into some crazy directions over the years, and now it seems it's come back around with the thrash stuff, with the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. Was the plan to always bring that full circle one day? Were you guys like, we have to do it, it's on the bucket list?
Not really, but we did. I mean, there's footage of us. I saw some recently on YouTube, which I totally had forgotten about. But we used to play some of this thrash stuff in our set. Like,
Mm,
actually, speaking of "Merry Go Bye Bye," there's that all that metal stuff that happens at the
yeah.
end. There's footage of us. You can hear like we play "Raping Your Mind" and "Sudden Death." We start interjecting that stuff because me and Train Mike always actually love that music, but we never really, it wasn't recorded very well. And then
Mm,
we only played it for like a year before we changed gears. So, it was never a plan to redo it, but actually I had the idea once after I met Dave, and I'm like, wait a minute, we've got the drummer here now that we always dreamed of playing with when we were 16 years old. Like, what if we re-record this, And actually, to be honest, we never thought it was that people were going to accept it because it's so different from what we did in the 90s,
yeah.
and we thought this might totally flop, but it's people have luckily have embraced it. So,
That's awesome,
and
man.
obviously, there's a lot of patent worshipers out there, and
Yes.
could fart in a bag and they would buy it.
It's true. Yeah, that is true. I know a few of them. I do know a
Yeah,
few of them. But and you too, man. They, anything you do, they're hardcore.
we appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
But of course, I mean the influence on other bands has been massive throughout the years. There are so many big bands that have been quoted as being inspired by you guys, like Slipknot, for example. But has there anyone that has taken you by surprise and come up to you and gone, "Man, Bungle set me on my path," that you thought this person never in a million years?
Um, you know, I mean, Korn told us that. Brian Welsh, the one of the guitar players from Korn, told
Mm.
me personally that they blatantly stole shit from us. Like he told me that to my face, like firsthand, which is fine. I mean, whatever, like everyone's influenced by everyone else, and but I think the most surprising is when I here in New York when I meet young musicians
Mm.
who, I feel like musicians are just getting better and better all the time, and there's all kinds of young musicians who are just like incredible, man. They might be they might be classical musicians who can also improvise, or they just they play noise but they can also read music. I don't know, there's like this, there used when I was a kid there were a lot of dividing lines between, you couldn't even like punk and metal at the same time. It wasn't cool, and now there's the diversity and the vastness of these young people's talents are amazing. So sometimes I'll meet these people and they're like, oh yeah, I was totally into Bungle when I was in high school. I'm like, what? And they're like miles above me, like in terms of what they can do musically. So that always surprises me. It's humbling, and like also is kind of an ego stroke for me too. It's like, well, man, I'm definitely happy to be a part of the contingent of influential music. It's weird for me to think about that, because I'm still the same person that I was back then. I'm still listening to different kinds of music and
Mm.
listening to new stuff and getting inspired and trying to think about, wow, how can I keep my stuff fresh and not just like be one of these like old curmudgeons who won't let go of the torch.
Yeah, they're like, no, I won't listen to anything past,
Yeah,
1999. No, I know the
yeah,
ones. But
yeah,
hey, man, I mean, you guys kicked open those doors for a lot of people to go. It's cool to listen to a lot of different stuff, and you
yeah,
even
yeah,
incorporate that in your sets, man. Like some of the covers you guys do, you're like, was it like that 10cc cover, and like even
yeah,
Sepultura, man. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing in Territory now, which is pretty cool. You know, it's wild,
yeah.
man. But
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, in high school, I never understood why you couldn't like, DRI and Slayer. They're
mm,
both aggressive. They both got something to say. It's definitely different genres, but you know, I don't know. But I was also learning how to play jazz and listening to like Stravinsky and
Mm,
listening to the Police or whatever, So I never understood why you would be judged for it's just notes, it's just melodies and
yep.
harmonies, and like
Everyone gets hung up on it. They get hung up on it. But
yeah,
not so much me.
probably insecurity. You feel like you got to find your camp so you can there's strength in numbers, but I mean, just being a musician, you have that, I think, and being a listener.
That's right. That's right. But have you guys talked about the next step with the new album or anything like that?
No, no, no plans for that. I mean, we'll see what happens. We're gonna ride this Raging Wrath thing out a little bit
Mm,
more. It does, honestly, it kind of has a shelf life, because we're not gonna make another metal record. I
mm.
mean, even our fans know that. Like, we're never our next if we were to make another record, you know, it's not going to be like anything we've ever done. So we just have that's the kind of thing that Trey and Mike and I, who were, kind of make those sort of ultimate decisions, I guess, like
Yeah.
haven't we don't sit down and talk about that kind of stuff. It just happens, if it's going to happen. So there's no telling.
Fingers crossed, dude. I got my fingers crossed. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, you've got a big year next year, massive festivals, and come down to Australia. Man,
Yeah.
it's busy, busy times. But
Yeah. Europe, we're going to do another tour in the States.
yeah,
I'm doing a big tour with Buzz Osborne from the Melvins. He and I are doing a duo tour, like 2 months in the States and then a month in Europe. So yeah, my whole year is actually booked already for 2024. So maybe 2025 I'll be able to like chill and write some new stuff and see what happens, see where that goes.
awesome, man, awesome. But hey, man, before we wrap up, I know I've got to go in a sec, but I just did want to say that our last chat that we had, which was not long ago,
Yeah.
has become one of my most significant chats I've had. Because a friend of mine who was a very, very big Bungle fan and Melvins fan, passed away. And one of the last interactions we had was talking about that interview and how stoked he was that I got to speak to you. So I don't know why I'm bringing that. I just thought,
Yeah.
to give him a shout out to John, wherever he is in the big wide universe, that
Yeah.
and tell you how much he loved your music. So
Yeah. Well, right on. I'm sure he's judging us the from the celestial area.
no, he'd be loving it, man. He'd be loving it. But brother, thank you so much again for hanging out on the show. We're gonna have all the links down here and on the website. Have a good Christmas holidays with your family and stuff, dude.
Thank you. Will do.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot.